Gold leather gloves, we're slapping in hands. Popcorn and peanuts, we're working the stands. Pink cotton candy, love on a stick. He's chasing the beer that circle the lips. Play ball, play ball. Roll up the bases and smack it right over the wall.
Play ball.
Play ball.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Laughter Saves Lives. Live here at Strong Island Television, Paradise Studios in beautiful downtown Massapequa, New York.
Today's show is brought to us by Barasch and McGarry,
Lawyers for the 9/11 community. That
Thank
is
you,
the best
Michael Barasch, yes.
opening we ever did.
Like so
And
polished.
it's so good that the show is going to go downhill from here. What do you think?
Not only, well, it's
Not at the end. We got the comic. He's going to be great. Billy Guy, one of my favorite
Hysterical.
comics. We got Santa on.
But I wonder if we could just clip that out and use that opening every time.
No, that's no fun because we like to trip over it. And,
Yeah.
you know, we're live. We're
Look
live with
all
all our
befuddled.
faults.
Yeah.
All our faults. How does my hair look tonight? Nice. I did
Look
it.
at that. You
I
shaved.
shaved. I did my
What
hair.
was the special occasion?
Let me start off by saying this. It's on my list. Such a pleasure working with you, doing a stand-up comedy show.
Wow.
You know,
We worked together last
we
week.
worked well together, though.
Yeah.
Driving there
Right.
in the car,
Yeah.
going the while after,
Right.
watching you with that act and that material, squeezing out some laughs.
Right? Wringing that washcloth to get that last joke.
I went up for. You know what? Let me tell you something about that show. Number one,
Yeah.
I almost hurt myself badly. Right? I tripped over that freaking lip. I had a
that's
lawsuit
right.
like you with the poke the eye bit.
Yeah.
I could have had a lawsuit.
Wow, it's an old bit. That's like
yeah.
20 years ago.
Well, I'm going back to stuff that used to work.
Yeah. So
My-
are you? Did
My
you
knee,
recover?
I don't understand the logic of having a
So
lip.
we were in this restaurant,
from
and
going-
the restaurant has one room to the other, but there's a lip like
It's
for
like
sliding glass
this
doors,
high.
and he took a flying
Jeez.
leap over that.
Because I got excited. I said, "There's Richie and Eric," you know, and I'm going back. Bam. I'm gonna tell you something that I've
Yeah.
never told you.
Yes. Oh,
Because I'm allowed to now.
yeah.
I don't know if I told you this, but when I was teaching in the hazardous material world
Right.
for the International Association
I
of
got this
Firefighters,
highly infectious.
for Homeland Security, I got a special gig out of all of this. I wasn't allowed to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I worked for a national agency for a little while.
Oh wow.
Can't tell you what the agency is. Still can't tell. I can tell you this.
See.
They walk very closely with the president. Can't tell you who they are. And they offer a very secret service, this agency.
Oh,
But
I
I can't
gotcha.
tell you who they are.
So you had that.
I worked for them for a while, how to carry meters, chemical warfare meters, whatever. But here's how secret it was, Richie.
Right.
I couldn't use my real name. They didn't want people looking me up.
You had a code name.
And now I'm allowed. Here's why I'm saying it. I'm allowed to come out with the code name now.
Right.
It's
right.
been 20 years.
It's been unredacted.
Unredacted. Is that a word?
I don't know.
That's when they cross it out and they don't cross it out anymore, right?
Well, redacted is the marker over it. And
Let
they-
me get to the punchline because I'm really stretching.
Okay, go ahead, go. This
So,
is like your
I
act.
thought of it. No, this is. Let me get back. This is a true story. No.
You're working for the
So,
special
It's an
secret,
agency.
agency.
It's secret, special.
Right.
Yeah, okay. My name is what? John LaRocchia.
Right.
With this agency to keep me shielded
Called
and
you.
secret, they called me Johnny LaRocchia, not John.
Right.
And I'm revealing that tonight. So let's go over it again. In order to keep me secret, my name is what? John LaRocchia.
Johnny is
They
your
called
code
me
name.
Johnny LaRocchia. Not just Johnny, Johnny LaRocchia.
Do not put that in your act. Is
I-
that going in
I
your act? You
woke
try out material. with
3
me every
o'clock in the
week.
morning, I'm laying in bed and I'm going, Richie will laugh at this.
Yes.
It's stupid, but Richie will, just like my skin tag joke that I can't use on the
I
air.
have a new bit. You want to hear this? I
listen.
did a show the other night, and they dropped checks on me.
Yes.
Is the rudest thing for
Explain to the audience what that means,
right?
Richie.
Did it ever happen to you?
Not to Billy, to the
so
audience.
they dropped the checks on me.
Drop checks?
That means that here, pay your bill, and everybody's
when he's on the
had
stage.
The chicken fingers I had,
yeah,
and whatever, and they're sorting out money.
Yep.
So I thought I have to do a bit on this.
You do.
And do you know stand-up comedy is the only business where they will drop checks on you, and you have to pay in the middle. When you go to Disney World, you pay at the gate,
right?
And they don't come in to collect money in Country Bear Jamboree.
No, they do not.
You go to Book of Mormon, they're not coming down the aisle with a cash box. I don't get why in stand-up comedy they got to collect their money while you're on stage.
I think it's rude.
Yes.
But I also was there when they did that to you, and I heard the girl say, "Do something, drop the checks." Help him. Take the focus off the comic.
Yeah. That's funny.
That would be funny, right? That's funny. What else I got?
Can I use that's my closing part of that joke?
I got called for jury duty.
Yes, you did.
I'm not gonna I'm gonna defer. I can defer once. Because
how do you do that?
Because you can defer once. Without going through craziness.
I shouldn't say it on the air.
Yeah.
My daughter's now 21, but when she was a baby, I said I was the sole caregiver, and we have no other means financially, blah, blah, blah. And they must have put me on a do not mail list.
Oh, really?
I've never, ever.
Well, when I was on the fire department, I never got it. This is like one of the first times. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe one other time I had it.
I would look.
I'm kind of looking forward to it. But you want to hear something interesting? My son got it the same week.
Oh, wow.
So that would be a problem because if we two of us
are the
aren't
same
there,
name, why don't you just go? One of you go down and say no. They sent.
Well, what was funny is the name came across as Johnny LaRocchia.
Oh, the code name. Well, that's
code name, not John LaRocchia. So I'm a little leery about who's sending this to me. It could be.
Sounds like spam.
A secret service organization I was talking about. What else? I went to my doctor, who gives me the medications.
Yes.
The Vyvanse and the HIPAA. Here we go again. I can't do this.
Right.
Gives me the Vyvanse and the Adderall.
Yeah.
And I said to him, listen, the Vyvanse is working well, but the Adderall, I don't think it's powerful enough.
Right.
He just dropped the prescription to double the amount right there.
Wow.
Yeah, I like this guy. This is a nice doctor.
Yeah.
Doctor that just
Who
gives you drugs.
what you want.
Yeah, when you ask. But I'm getting so much done.
I hate to say, I never say the name of my doctor, but my doctor's, I'm not kidding you. What do you need?
What do you need?
He asked me that right before I leave.
Are you sure it's a doctor?
Yeah, he is.
Where do you meet with him?
Well, it's all legit. I have a lot of problems.
You have a lot of problems.
Yes.
And I just happened to write down a few of them here for tonight. You don't have a lot. You know what I love about you?
I have sickness problems. That stuff.
Well, you're ill. You have illnesses like all of us.
The works. Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting old. St. Albans, we're back coming up on the 18th. Who wants to do St. Albans Veterans Hospital? Raise your hand.
What's the
show
date?
his book? Billy Geyer, Rich Walker, John Santa. There we go. That one was easy.
What's the date?
May 18th, I think.
May 18th.
I think
St.
so.
Albans.
St. Albans Veterans Hospital. It's a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. It's not the best show as your comic because half the guys are falling asleep on you, But listen, they appreciate us being there. Yeah. We're showing up. We're talking to them. We're going up to the rooms. We're pushing them down.
Oh, wow.
I'm excited. I'm really excited. I'm really having them work on getting some family members there, too.
Yeah.
That should be nice.
Make up a flyer. Do they have a flyer for
it? We got the flyer made up already. Just got waiting to plug the pictures on there of Billy Geyer, Rich Walker, and John Santa.
Oh, that's good. All right. May 18th, I'll put it.
You know who stepped up to do it? Who's the God, she's gonna be upset at me if she's watching.
Roseanne.
No. The older woman who was a veteran who's doing stand-up comedy. She just moved back to New York. Very nice lady. Oh, what's her name? You know what I'm talking about? She was a veteran. Very nice lady. So that's gonna be kind of exciting.
What's her name?
Tomorrow night, I'm at the bookstore with Benny Rizzuti.
Oh yeah,
doing the bookstore. First, that's the closest I'm getting to reading books going to do some comedy in the bookstore.
Good for you.
You know, listen, comics, this is 30 years of working bookstore. You know what I'm saying? Headline the books.
I saw that.
I didn't mention that right off the bat.
No, I saw it on the flyer. I did see it the other day.
You know what you get if you headline? Nobody else gets this. Bookmark. Get a little bookmark to headline. No money, just a bookmark. But I'm doing it. You know why I'm doing it? Because it's an addiction. Comedy is an addiction. We all know that.
Yes.
You know, it's like, no, half the time people don't ask how much they're getting paid anymore. It's like, hey, you want to do it?
They don't even, when you put them on the show, they don't even ask anymore.
Well, that's just you.
Oh,
and you're always then disappointed. Let's get the disappointment out of the way when we book it. Not after the show, then you look at me and you go, really? Really?
Really, John?
Really, John?
Did you see the job I did?
Did you see the job I did?
Setting up all your equipment.
I'm standing about
taking it all down.
Drop the checks. Richie's almost done. Drop the checks. You're going to the Butcher's Room, right? This Friday?
Yeah. Primetime comedy
if you're
in Jersey.
What town is that in?
You gotta ask me that. I thought it was Manalapan.
Look it up. It's near East Brunswick. Near Brunswick area. That's it.
Windsor.
You got Eric Haft, Rich Walker, and Danny Calabrese.
Wow, it's a show.
Doing the show. And at least you'll know when the checks will be dropped if you attend that show.
They ain't dropping no checks on me.
Oh, they're dropping.
No, I'm only featuring that. Eric Haft is closing.
Yeah.
So I tell him, go ahead.
All right, here's what we're going to do.
You missed my bit. I wrote in a bit about that.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to a break, and then we're going to come back with Lauren. Pronounce Lauren's name because you don't want to mess it up.
Yeah.
You pronounce it.
Velakos.
Lauren Velakos. She is from the Alzheimer's Disease Resource Center.
Right.
We're going to bring her on right after this break.
This is personal to me. I'm John Field, 9/11 responder and advocate. I walked the halls of Congress for 20 years. You too may qualify for the same 9/11 benefits as I do. It's true, it's the law. If you were south of Canal Street and you had any of the 69 cancers linked to 9/11, you may qualify for compensation up to $250,000 and free health care. Sadly, only 10% of you have enrolled. Access what you are owed. Call now to find out if you qualify. I fought side by side with Barasch and McGarry for 2 decades in Washington, D.C. to get benefits for all victims, not just responders. You owe it to yourself to call Barasch and McGarry, lawyers for the 9/11 community. I trust them. So can you.
And we're back. Laughter Saves Lives live.
We used to be very more excited when we first.
We used to be
like
funny.
live.
We used to be funnier, more energetic, and more attractive.
Yeah,
it's gone downhill. It's gone downhill.
One of us.
But you have the nice shirts on.
I wore a nice shirt today.
Did you ever watch one of
this?
This
was like my 4th wear. Like I don't like
today.
No. Like I'll wear these shirts.
They're beautiful.
And then you had 2 beautiful ones.
I told you that I had 2. He bought me. Look at 2 beautiful shirts.
2 nice shirts.
And he goes, "How do they look?" I said, "Just go to the St. Vincent de Paul Society and watch people walking out, and 2 of them will have on the shirts that you gave me because I'm not wearing those."
This is what you wear. You're supposed to wear a collared shirt.
You donated those shirts to wonderful people. Wonderful people.
Yeah.
And the guy came walking out and he said to me, "John, thank you for this. $6.90 at Walmart." He said, "You got the same shirt at home." Let's bring out our guest. She is the executive director, CEO of the Alzheimer's Disease Resource Center, Lauren Velakos. Please tell me I said the name right.
You got it right. Good evening. How are you?
Were you just being nice?
No, you got it right. You did good.
That's great.
Yes. You know,
that's Greek.
Yes, I am. Yes.
I'm getting at that age where I know people's.
Well, that's not hard. That's a Greek name.
Yeah, I guess.
No, Lauren
Smith. Oh, you're Irish. Like I'm good at that.
Lauren, thank you for putting up with us.
Jewish.
And still, after that opening, thank you for still hanging out. Half our guests, we come back and there's just a blank screen. So
I was enjoying your banter, and now I learned something too of putting the checks down.
Yeah, that's what they do at a comedy show. It's rude, but it has to be done. Somebody's got to pay. So you stepped in tonight. We had some cancellations. Thank you so much for doing that, because we would have had 30 minutes of banter. And we start losing it after 12 minutes. Then we start talking about nose hairs, and it gets terrible. It's terrible. So the Alzheimer's Disease Resource Center, serving Long Island families since 1983. I'm just going to read these few sentences. We provide care, consultation, information, and referrals, community education, support groups, life enrichment, and therapy programs for caregivers and their loved ones. And there's more to that, but I'll let you fill in the blanks. Alzheimer's disease.
Correct.
Alzheimer's.
Did I say it wrong? Just like museums?
You say Alzheimer's.
Yeah, it's Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's. Oh, Al.
Yeah.
Now, my dad is 91 at this point.
Okay.
Okay. He's in his things. This is a big deal for a family to go through this.
Yes.
Thank God there are people like you there. Tell us a little bit about this process. When do people come to you? When should they come to you?
So it's usually actually around holidays. So now that we're getting ready for the Passover season or Easter, people start hanging out with their family again, maybe going home for dinner, and that's where they really start seeing a marked change in their loved one. Right. And then, like, especially if like your mom always, made this certain cookies or something, and you're home for dinner, and it's like, where's the cookies, Ma? And she might say, well, I couldn't follow the recipe. I just couldn't do it. And your mom doesn't even need a recipe to make those cookies anymore. And so it's some things like that. People start noticing those things. And to be honest, they're not really sure how to navigate the system. So what's next? What do I do? And that's where they can call us. So they can call for free, John. We have a licensed master social worker, and they can really just pick our brain. Tell us, what are they seeing? What are their concerns? And then we do a lot of referrals and references. We'll refer to them to neurologists, mild cognitive clinics, so that they can get a proper memory test screening. So really what you want to do is start a baseline to see, is there some cognitive decline happening? Sometimes with older people, it's not always instantly dementia if they're having trouble hearing. So making sure that they can hear appropriately, their eyes are checked out, they have their glasses, even looking for signs of depression. Sometimes if they're just home and isolated, they might seem a little off, but if people started being around them more and they were socializing, they might perk up, and then they don't really have cognitive decline happening. But a lot of go ahead.
I don't want. Did you want to say something? Because you always tell me I don't let you talk.
No, go ahead.
Sure.
Ask your question.
Yeah.
My mom had it. What's the difference between Alzheimer's and dementia?
So that's a great question. So dementia is really an umbrella term, very much like the word cancer. And then under when we have cancer, we have all those different forms of cancer. So dementia is really an umbrella term, meaning that you have some kind of cognitive decline happening. And then under that umbrella term, you can have Alzheimer's disease. You can have a form of dementia called Lewy body dementia. And that is actually what Robin Williams ended up passing away from.
Oh.
You can have a dementia called frontal temporal dementia, and that's what Bruce Willis is inflicted with right now.
Very interesting.
Yeah, and you can have vascular dementia. And the difference between these different forms of dementia is that the plaques and proteins in the brain that are building up, they're building up in different parts of the brain. So you might be impacted by Lewy body dementia, but it might not be always about your memory. You might start having trouble with word recall, and doctors will often use a fancy term called aphasia. And that just really means that you're having trouble bringing words back. Your loved one might say, give me the whoozy whatsy. I want the thing of the thing, because they can't remember to ask for the fork or the spoon. They can't just get that word recall. And so it could be things like that. Your loved one might have a marked personality change where they were very extroverted, and now they're becoming introverted. And sometimes we might think, oh, they're having a midlife crisis, but it could really be a different form of dementia that's beginning to happen.
Did
Even
you hear Benson syndrome?
Go ahead. What was that?
Did you ever hear Benson syndrome?
I haven't. No.
That's what my sister had. She died from it, but at 61 she was.
I think I remember you telling me that, but I'm sorry, Richie.
But her, she didn't have. It was a form of. I would imagine it was a form of dementia, where the brain was no longer controlling. Like she would go into the bedroom to get a pillow, but she would come out with a lamp. Like I mean, it was that, like past the salt, and she would pour gravy all over. You know what?
The signals are all messed up, Richie, and so people,
signals, yeah,
the signals are all messed up. It's like the neurons are not talking correctly to each other. And what people need to realize is when your brain doesn't work right, like this is the mainframe, this is the computer, and it controls everything. It controls how your heart beats. It controls how your organs.
Right.
So, as most of you are probably aware, in your audience too, as someone, as they are progressing in their dementia, whatever form they have, those things begin to shut down because parts of your brain are not working appropriately. And that's why you see, especially for caregivers, the care increases the amount that they have to take care of their loved one. It might start basic with, just reminding someone of a few things, but it'll eventually get to where you actually have to help the person getting dressed, recognizing what the weather is outside, making decisions about food preparation, helping them with, paying the bills, things like that. Those tasks will just become too difficult for them.
I'm going through like a really rough time with my dad now. And I mean, just talking to you and seeing your knowledge and enthusiasm, you're in the right field.
Thank you.
Same thing. I mean, he's calling my sisters by the wrong name.
Yeah.
When he was in the hospital, they asked him a bunch of questions. Where do your kids live? Where, stuff like that. And he's getting a lot of that wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm battling with the fact now with my sisters, not battling with them, but we're all about, he wants to go home to Queens and live. Really, he would have to have an aide.
Correct.
But he's in a house that's attached on both sides, not too bright, wouldn't be going out much. Whereas where he is now, he's seeing 10 to 12 to 15 people every day. But he's claiming he's miserable there. He wants to go home. Yet when I'm there and I talk to people, oh, he's the nicest. And I see
he's the mayor, right?
I see him interacting with people.
Correct.
And I've been told that this will keep his mind going longer. So it's such a battle because he's like, I want to go home, get me home, whatever. And it's like, am I making the right decisions here?
Right.
It's really hard, John, because you're right in so many points that you made. He will be better being in a community where people are looking for him to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, where it's like, oh, we're going to have an activity where he walks in a room and people are like, hey, yeah, I'm glad you came downstairs. We see with our clients that we serve, the ones who try to age in place and are really socially isolated, the disease progresses much, much faster. And that speaks to all of us. If we all want to live good, healthy lives, we need to be engaged. We need to have purpose. We need to volunteer. Like what you're doing and Richie and all of your comedians is amazing because your purpose, like you're out there, you're bringing joy and laughter to people. You're building a community around something that was very tragic, but you're making the best out of it. And that keeps you sharp. I mean, seriously. And so getting folks to remember, like, we need to be engaged in our communities. We need to get out there, especially when people retire. Like, you can't retire and sit home and watch QVC. Like, no.
I had a neighbor. He was a retired New York City detective.
Mm-hmm.
And I see him every day picking weeds out of the sidewalk, and
Yep.
he just died. Like he did nothing after, and that was the end of him. What do they know what causes it, or what would lean you in that direction of starting to deteriorate? Is it mental or is it physical?
And is there any new treatments that are going on now that are helping?
Yeah, all of it. So the biggest risk factor is age. Okay. So people who reach the age of 85, 1 in 3 of them will have some form of dementia that will begin. Okay. So our biggest risk factor is that we're aging longer. The cause of it is that these plaques are building up in our brains, and eventually the plaques become, it's almost like when you have plaque on your heart.
Right.
They become so plaque filled that then the neurons begin to die out and they can't talk to each other. So the neurons in between can't talk anymore because the plaque spilled it out. And then parts of the brain begin to just die. Usually when they do an autopsy of someone later, you will see the brain has really atrophied and there are like holes missing from the brain.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes, because parts of it die.
What is the main medicine? Is it that calcium, whatever, the Crestor, like, for calcium? Or is
I don't know necessarily like medicine, but a lot of it is about eating healthy,
right?
Less alcohol. Like I try to stress that to people so much. The alcohol is really not good for us.
Oh, John.
I'm serious, not very good for us. Exercising, but exercising doesn't need to be a gym. Like just walk around the block, garden, take the dog out, play with the grandkids at the park. Like it doesn't have to be. And then volunteerism and purpose. Having purpose in life is so important for us. When we're like giving back and we have a reason to get up in the morning, it stimulates us.
Right.
I was just, if you were listening before, I mentioned the St. Albans Veterans Hospital show that we used to do. COVID, we haven't been back. Finally, we're going back. And comics are very quick to, I'll do it, and it's not the greatest show as a comedian to do because they're not laughing.
Right.
They're on medication, they're falling asleep, but they know you're there.
Correct.
And I find so many comics have come to me afterwards and said, that was a really great experience. Because we get to pick them up in the room, wheel them down, talk to them after the show. And so
it makes them feel seen because that's the other thing, John Ritchie. When someone gets dementia, everyone around you starts treating you like a child. People talk about you. People are making decisions. You're in the room. People in the public have no patience if you stumble over your words. And our organization is really trying to change that stigma too. Like just because if you do get a diagnosis, it's not time to pack it in. Not at all. It's like,
and John, now you just learned something. Don't say to them, was that funny? Because you have to push it a little bit.
But they're enjoying your company. You're making them feel good. You know what I mean? And the fact, even if they're not belly laughing, you brought some joy into their lives.
Yeah, they know you're there. What events do you have coming up? Because I looked at your website. You always have doing some type of events.
So we have tons of programs for families. Those are all free, John. So if you have any families or caregivers and they're feeling home and they're isolated, we do art therapy. We do music therapy. We go to the horse farm. We have equine therapy.
Wow.
We visit a lot of museums. And again, we don't want our caregivers to have to worry about paying for things or organizing it. So we do it all. They just have to reach out. They can sign up and they come and enjoy the experience with their loved one. And what we see is now it's not caregiving. Like they're just having a fun experience with their loved one. It's not like, hey, mom, remember this. We got to go to the doctor. Get dressed. You didn't eat yet. Where's your medicine? It's none of that. It's like come and do some art with us. And the other thing to keep in mind is that people with dementia, these were people in our society who helped us get to the moon. They built airplanes. They're engineers. They're doctors. And so, again, just because they got dementia doesn't mean that we have to infantile things or disregard them or not treat them with dignity or humanity.
Love it. We can find you. Your website is...
So folks can find us at adrcinc.org. And we would love, you guys are in Massapequa on June 7th. We're going to have a big memory walk and spring festival. We have a barbecue. We have live music. We have piñatas. And so we encourage the public to come join us Saturday, June 7th at Marjorie Post Park in Massapequa. Come walk with us. Come celebrate your loved ones. Bring the whole family, the kids, everyone.
How nice is that?
Yeah, it's going to be wonderful.
We will be there. We will try to be there with our Laughter Saves Lives shirts on. I have my new shirts, my new team shirts.
Ooh, awesome.
Nice and yellow, and everybody will wear them. Thank you for coming on and filling in at the last minute. You are awesome. I love your enthusiasm, and they're lucky to have you.
And I'm very grateful for the opportunity for both of you. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best, too. Keep keeping us laughing. I love it.
We'll keep it touch.
All right, definitely, gentlemen, be well.
Thank you, Lauren. All right, we're going to go to a quick break, and we'll be back with John Santo.
I'm sorry to bother you, but I have 30 seconds to give you a very important message. My name is Arthur Lee. I'm the CEO inventor of LifeVac, a simple choking rescue device that could save a life in a choking emergency. We've saved over 3,000 lives now, but we're not there. 5,000 people a year choke to death, one child every 5 days. Please consider protecting your family in a choking emergency with LifeVac. Go to lifevac.net today. Thank you for your time.
Live. Let's pick up
Move
studio.
in, John. Here, let me.
Which John? Oh wait, we got to move to your
Not
side.
John E.
Your side, right?
John.
No way.
He's got to come
way.
in.
All right. So let me just tell you something about this guy. Always filling in at the last minute for us, and I never give him enough time, and that's going to continue today.
Yeah, it's nothing
But
else,
he
right?
is.
Wait, I was the last minute filming?
Yeah. Well, I called you at 2:00. He
Yeah,
is.
But not only that, he chimed in and said, I'm always available, or something like that
Something
on
like
the
that.
thread. I saw it.
He's so smart. He knows so many topics. I
He's
always look
amazing.
to him for answers.
He's like Neil deGrasse.
So much so that you booked me in
whatever.
advance instead of at the last minute.
Yes.
Excellent. I'm the best of what was available.
So, but what's interesting
We
about
knew
John?
he'd be here at the studio anyway.
He lives right there.
I live like across the street.
It's true. He does show up.
And I'm
many
only on
times
the show once in a while, even though I
with
live
his, he
across
shows
the
up with his
street.
scary Met
We
shorts.
don't need Tony Soprano every week.
That's
No,
true.
well, we-
need to
That's
space
fair.
it out.
What
That's
we
fair. That's
have this week
I do like 60 impressions, but okay.
is the
As
John
James
Santo
Gandolfini.
pilot.
Yeah.
Pilot. He was a pilot, and I'm sitting there today going, man, you know what? We never really picked his brain
Yeah.
because I take a lot of flights. What are those pilots doing in there before we take off? What are they doing as we take off? What do they do when it's in the air? This man probably has some of those answers, I hope.
Real quick before he answers,
If
he
not,
knows
we'll bring
I
him in.
used to be a pilot. You didn't even know that.
You never were a pilot.
I was a pilot. My brother would chop
Would
down
you-
the tree, hand the wood to me, then I would pilot. Thank you.
That's
I love this.
Try
man.
the
That's-
deal.
Richie's joke book, page 32. So now that we've eaten up 5 minutes of your time,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about what goes on there. What did you,
Yeah,
being a
aviator.
pilot, what's the hardest part about learning to be a pilot?
Okay, well, because I know you love Delta, I actually brought a Delta
Oh, they're ready when you are,
777,
Mhm.
777.
Okay,
This is a twin-engine wide-body airplane.
nice. Don't sit over here because the seat doesn't go back.
Nope, I actually sat up here on one because I was nice to the gate agent. They upgraded me.
Nice.
Yeah, just because I was nice. I gave him an aviation book.
Very nice.
Yeah, what a
Okay.
magazine I had. So, because the guy was a pilot, the gate agent. We were talking. Pilots, we wear the
Yeah,
sunglasses
right.
inside.
Sure.
We find each other quickly.
Sure.
So, what was your question about what goes on in the plane? When
Like
they take off?
you're getting ready to take off.
Mhm.
Let's talk about getting ready to take off. So now you've gone through all your checks.
Right.
What are some of the things that you check? Some of the important things you're checking. How much fuel is in a plane?
How much fuel is in the plane is always a good idea.
Yeah, I mean that sounds simple, but it's on the checklist.
It's a
I
real-
wanna
it's
know
a really good idea.
Can
How
you finish
much
my
does a
question?
plane like that weigh?
A lot.
Yeah, but I had thought that the metal actually is very thin.
The metal is very thin, but there's a lot of metal.
It's a
So
lot of
you have the engines; they weigh a lot, and
Yeah.
the wings weigh a lot, and all the systems and all the structures weigh a lot.
It's amazing it gets
I
off the
didn't-
ground.
It does. You know why? Because the thrust is greater than the weight. That's why thrust is in pounds.
Oh, really?
So each one of these engines can put out, I think, what is it, 70,000,
thrust.
75,000 pounds of thrust. So there's four forces of flight: thrust, weight, lift, and drag. Right. So
We'll get too
thrust.
technical now.
No, there's only four.
All right.
This is like in 8th grade they have that diagram.
I said
Thrust,
don't
weight,
get
lift,
too
drag.
technical, and you had to throw the 8th grade.
Eighth
thing
grade,
in.
it's like
All
an
this
eighth
is
grade
8th grade
thing.
is languages. All right.
I learned that when I was like in 8th grade.
When does a pilot or vice versa become an aviator?
So that's just another term for pilot.
Oh.
But aviator could also cover somebody who's not a pilot, like the backseater on a F-18 Hornet. That's
Okay.
a weapons
Aviator.
systems officer, but it's an aviator, but not a pilot.
All right, I want to get back to the planes that we fly. So that pilot's in there, he's checking the gas. What else is he checking? What else?
Besides the fuel.
The fuel.
All right. So
The
they
tires, you always had test tires, right?
always
Well,
check.
he goes-
they
he
they
goes-
do a
he
pre-flight all around the airplane.
He
So
goes-
before they take off, they're actually going to move the controls and make sure that all of the flight controls, the ailerons, and all
Pieces
the different
moving?
flight controls are moving incorrect.
Okay.
That they're properly, they're moving enough and they're moving in the correct direction. So then they're going to put down a certain amount of flaps depending on how long the runway is,
Mhm.
and then they're going to apply takeoff power, which they calculate, and then the plane takes off.
Okay. So all right, now you're taking off. What is the pilot doing?
So on Delta Airlines,
Going
I know
up, probably.
I hope so.
at least this was the procedure the last time I flew a Delta simulator.
Okay, that's fine.
Was that Delta's procedure is to hand fly the aircraft to cruising altitude.
So you hand flying, then you're
Hand
turning it
flying
over.
because they feel that the pilot should have a feel for the aircraft and not just engage the autopilot like when they're just like taking off the ground.
I didn't even know that it was possible. to
Some
engage the
airlines
autopilot.
do that. But
Really?
Delta taught me. I mean, it may have changed. It's been a long time since I was in a Delta simulator, but at that time they told me that their policy is to hand fly the aircraft to cruising altitude and then engage the autopilot. There might be exceptions to why they would or
Right.
wouldn't do that, but that's
Right.
basically that was their procedure at that time.
Okay, so what happened to Mr. Sully when he hit those birds?
So actually, I just was at an event with Sully last week
Oh,
at
wait.
the Wings Club in New York City.
Very nice. You and Sully.
And he said something to the students. There were a lot of students there
Mhm.
from my alma mater and other flight schools and maintenance schools. He said, your job as a pilot is to know every single thing about the airplane, every component, everything that can and can't do, because the situation he was put in was never trained for. Yes, water landings were trained for, but it was always assumed that if an airplane had a ditch, it would be at a higher altitude.
Right.
They didn't even have time to complete the water landing checklist because the whole flight was less than that amount of time.
Right.
So, because they hit the birds at low altitude and had to make an immediate decision to
Are
where
they
to
doing
land the
anything
aircraft.
about this birds? Like, I know you can't put a screen in front of the engines.
No,
right?
that wouldn't do anything. I mean, think about it. Look at the blades that
They
are
would
inside
just
this
claw up
engine.
the screen.
Right. If
Yeah.
they can destroy these fan blades, what are you going to make the screen out of?
Yeah.
That's right.
Right?
I'm just thinking there must be
Now,
a
and that
think
would
tank.
that would occlude the airflow into the
how
engine.
close to real life
Partially.
is the movie Airplane with Leslie Nielsen?
100% accurate.
Excellent question.
Excellent
Very good.
question.
Excellent question.
In fact-
I'm talking about coming from you. Excellent
Yes.
question.
When I flew a British Airways simulator, I told them, I said, pretend I'm Ted Stryker. Both pilots
It's a
had the
great
fish, and I have to land because I was a Cessna pilot. I never flew anything like this. So I said, could I land the airplane? And they talked me down as if I was, and I did it.
Okay.
I
Here's
did
Rich Walker.
Right.
Here's Rich Walker in the seat on here, and the pilot has a heart attack.
Mhm.
And here's Richie. Now I saw something on this today, but could Rich Walker land this plane?
Yes, with direction.
But he'd have to be talked down by somebody
How
very
much
capable.
time would he need?
He needs somebody who knows every inch of that airplane and who won't crack under pressure.
Right.
Get me Rex Kramer.
Right. But I'm saying you need. It's
He
not
knows.
like the plane is going like Sully. He wouldn't have enough time to learn that because the plane's. But how long would he have to be in the air for him to possibly land that
So
plane?
let's say
It
the
can't
plane.
automatically land itself.
Yes. Now some
Ooh.
of the more advanced
Really?
airplanes, it would probably tell you. Depends on the airplane. If it's an older airplane, no. But if it's a newer airplane, they do have that
Okay.
capability. So they would probably just tell you what to do.
And-
But both pilots would have to be incapacitated,
Right.
right?
Right.
So
Well, they would
that's
just-
unlikely because both the pilots aren't supposed to have the same meal from the same kitchen, just to avoid what happened in the airplane.
Right.
What did we have for
Okay, so
dinner? We had a choice, meat or fish.
I
remember
want to
I had
know
a
this.
lasagna.
I want to know this. You answered that very good.
Thank you.
And you are a pilot, it looks like. Why are pilots only paid when the wheels are off the ground in the air and not in the tarmac and the runway?
That's a great question. I don't know.
Why pilots only what?
I think the
Once
flight
the
attendants
wheels
too.
go in, that's when they're paid.
Yeah, their hourly
clock
rate, but
starts
their
ticking.
duty time
Oh,
starts
really?
when they arrive at the airport. There's two times that they get judged on. One is not judged, but that count towards their duty time. Arrival at the airport and flight
Different
time.
rates.
Because I was on a plane that was delayed several hours, and I'm like, I hope they don't run out of crew duty time. Because if they do,
They're
then
gone.
we're screwed. I'm stuck.
So
in
you're
DC.
saying they're paid more once the plane is in the air than when they're waiting in the airport?
I think I don't know the hourly rates, and it might vary by airline, but I'm pretty sure that it's pretty standard that they get
Because
paid
this
differently.
is an interesting fact.
I'm
Because,
talking about crew duty time that counts
Well, I
against
used to
if
tutor a
they can
woman.
operate the flight.
if they have enough
And her husband
time,
was a
right?
commercial pilot for
That was a good fact, Rich.
Spirit. And she said he only gets paid when those wheels lift off the ground.
That could be.
Really?
That could be. I don't know. I'm not familiar. I never flew Spirit.
I was relating it to when I was a firefighter and we drove the truck, we made more than the firefighter who was in the back. It wasn't a whole lot more. That wasn't worth it because you drive that truck.
There's probably different contractual
conductors.
More
You
responsibility.
have the head conductor, the
Right.
brakeman, you have collectors, and they're all different.
More responsibility.
But
You know what's funny? This airplane 863DA, I flew on this actual airplane. This 777. It's now in storage. It's no longer in service.
Wow.
It was delivered in 1999 at Delta, and it's now
amazing.
It's now in storage.
I want to know, when you hear the term "we lost an engine," does it mean the engine went out or fell off?
It'll turn up.
You had some good questions up.
That was a Spencer Brooks.
No.
Yeah,
Remember Spencer Brooks?
What was that for?
No, but
if you lose an engine, so on this airplane, the
two engines.
The engines on this airplane. Have you ever flown a 737?
I don't know. I just sit down and ask for peanuts.
So a single aisle plane with 3 and 3, the fuselage of that airplane is roughly the width of a 777's engine. That's how big this airplane is compared to a 737. But if you were to lose power in one engine, right, you'd have to
But
make.
when they say we lost an engine, it doesn't mean it fell off the plane.
No, it just means it doesn't have any thrust.
Right.
So it failed. I was on my first commercial flight was on a turboprop, a Pan Am Express from Rochester to JFK.
Turboprop.
And we lost the engine. This is my first time.
Fell off?
No,
you'll like this story.
It snapped. The turbine snapped, and the propeller just windmilled. And we had to make an emergency landing in Bridgeport because we lost the engine.
You know what the term is when the engine falls off?
What?
Holy crap! That's what you hear from the pilot.
Well,
think about what happens if this engine falls off. That's going to shift the weight of the airplane.
Then they have to balance it.
It's actually designed that if it breaks away, it goes over the wing and comes that way.
Well, let me say one thing. When I was young and stupid, when I was an insurance adjuster, I had a claim for a company. I forgot where they were, probably in like the Hot Pod industrial area. And I go in, and there was a claim for, well, it was water damage, but what they had was all these brackets. And I go, and what they did was they made the brackets that fasten this to the wings on the plane. And I go, oh, so when you hear they lost, that's what they did in the office. They go, we don't want to even, don't ever mention about the brackets not holding.
Now, an engine failure could be a simple loss of thrust in the engine, and they have to power it down. It could have a variety of problems.
And they sent a pilot out to fix it.
What's bad is
with a cord.
What's bad is if this engine has an uncontained engine failure, which then gets into the cabin. Then you could have a depressurization. You could have people injured or killed inside the cabin.
Or somebody can lean out the window and just like hit it.
That's what I said.
Try to get it started
again. A big stick.
Toughest landing you ever had.
Like a starter.
Toughest landing.
That I landed or that I was on?
That you landed. Where you were like a little worried,
Sunrise Highway. I know someone who landed on Sunrise.
Yeah, there was the plane that landed yesterday on the highway.
Is it?
You saw it?
I didn't.
Oh, maybe it was YouTube. Maybe I was watching YouTube.
Could have been all. There was one that landed on the thruway a few months ago.
No, I think I was watching YouTube. Never mind.
I had a guy in my acting class. His name's David, and he's one of the ones that landed it in the Potomac. What is that?
Potomac. Potomac.
No,
Potomac.
What's the one?
Washington D.C. Oh
no, it was out in the island.
Yeah,
in the icy waters.
Yeah. I got you.
And he swam. I forgot where he landed it. Where's that ferry? Peconic.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Peconic.
The Peconic Princess. That thing.
I don't remember a hard landing because I was a pretty good pilot.
No, it was in the water. He landed.
But I never really had a hard landing. But I'll tell you about a situation. I was flying out of Danbury Airport.
We got about a minute and a half,
and it was dusk.
And then
the oil pressure light came on when we were over the Long Island Sound. So my friend was flying. He goes, John, do I turn around or do we keep going? And I figured out we were pretty much exactly in the middle. So at that point, you don't turn around. And I'm like, it's dusk. If we go down the Long Island Sound, we're dead. They're never finding us. So I said, let's just keep going. And then once we got over land, now you have options. You can land on golf courses, on a road. But we made it back to Republic. It was just a bad indicator.
Great. That's a great story. That's a great story. Thank you for coming and sharing some of your knowledge. He's so smart, this guy knows so many topics. But it's an honor to know Long Island's favorite impressionist. He'll be appearing
Governor's April 25th in the Giggle Room.
Go see him. He's very funny. Thank you for coming for tonight.
Sorry to bother you, but I have 30 seconds to give you a very important message. My name is Arthur Lee. I'm the CEO and inventor of LifeVac, a simple choking rescue device that could save a life in a choking emergency. We've saved over 3,000 lives now, but we're not there. 5,000 people a year choke to death, one child every 5 days. Please consider protecting your family in a choking emergency with LifeVac. Go to lifevac.net today. Thank you for your time.
And we're back
We're
with
laughing
comic
same
Billy
session.
Guy.
Yes.
Hello, Billy.
We're live.
Live, one of my favorite comics. He's very different from seeing. Get Billy in there.
Get me in
Let's-
here.
There he is.
let's
What's
just-
going on, guys?
So
How
tell
are
us,
you?
Billy.
You guys really like green, huh?
Well, they can't see that.
I know.
They can't see that, Billy. You gave a whole thing. They think we're in
This
front
has
of the
been up
firehouse.
since St. Patty's Day.
We've been telling them we're in front of the firehouse for 2 years. You just blew it. You just blew it.
Sorry to give it away,
What are you
guys.
gonna do?
You know,
So you're looking good.
doing all right.
Staying
Yeah.
healthy.
I'm trying.
What are you
trying to
doing?
lose weight.
Yeah.
I go for nature walks a lot.
Oh, good.
I'm at
good.
like every nature preserve
Yeah.
in Suffolk and Nassau. Go to the Kings Park Psych Ward, that abandoned haunted
Oh, that
place.
Fun.
Put some steps in there. You
Yeah.
know, I try my best. You know.
You step quicker there, I bet.
Oh yeah.
Step quicker.
Spooky over there.
It's
You gotta
creepy,
watch.
right?
Oh yeah.
It's closed now, is it?
Oh yeah, it's close.
Yeah.
But people wander around there. I mean,
MS-13.
yeah, yeah. You gotta watch out, man.
Yeah, I called you this week, and in the background, I heard like Spanish TV.
Telemundo.
You speak Spanish?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
But I do like watching Spanish soap operas, even though I don't speak any
Yeah.
Spanish at all. You ever watch Telemundo?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Full of laughs. This place.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh.
I don't speak a lick of Spanish.
That's-
You
the
know.
women are beautiful, though.
Oh yes, they are. Oh my God, Rich. Yeah. Also, what is that thing?
What thing?
This-
That is the life fact.
Because I was sitting there over there.
I know. Don't say it.
This-
We've had.
What do you think I was going to say? 'Cause
Well, let him say it.
God,
I was my goofy brain over there is like, oh, they have an automatic desk. They don't. They have a shift. You gotta.
Oh,
desk-
all right.
There you
That's
go.
We've had some
You
X-rated.
would think they would add an automatic desk by now.
I
You
wasn't
gotta-
expecting that to come out of you. That's very,
What is
No,
it? Oh,
it's
so
a
for
life
oxygen.
fact.
if you're
Oh,
choking,
okay.
it actually is
One of our
invented.
sponsors,
It
Billy.
goes down, pushes the air out, so it don't blow your lungs up.
And then pulls the thing
Oh,
out.
all right.
And that should never happen.
Well, we just
Um,
we
So
just
your
just
desk isn't
lost
a
a
stick
sponsor.
shift.
but it
Thank you,
pulls the
Life Back,
steak right out.
for the last 3 years of sponsorship. What else
All
you
right.
watch? Anything else on TV? Cartoons?
Cartoon. I love Scooby Doo.
Oh,
Ooh,
Been
the
rewatching.
best.
I got the
Yeah.
box set of Scooby Doo at Walmart last week. I've been rewatching old
oh my
Scooby Doo.
God.
And what do you get
The
out
old
of it?
Casey Kasem.
Yeah,
Casey
I love
Kasem
old
son?
cartoons like that. Yogi
Swagger.
Bear, the
Hey,
Flintstones.
Scooby. Yeah, Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah, all the Hanna-Barbera
I
cartoons.
wonder what happened to Hanna-Barbera. Do you know the story behind that?
I know.
Is that a real person?
It's Hanna and Barbera.
yeah,
They
the
were-
partners. Yeah.
there was some sort of
I
conflict.
don't know.
I
Look
don't
it up,
actually know.
YouTube. All right.
I just watch the cartoons.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. What else is going on in Billy Guy's career?
I got some new jokes.
Tell us. We love jokes. Laughter.
And you had mentioned before I tried to write a joke about umbrella terms, but not a fan of dry humor.
Ooh.
We'll be workshopping some jokes here
Hold on.
tonight.
Dry
We're gonna
That's
humor.
good.
We're gonna use
I
this as
like
an
that
open
one,
mic.
umbrella
by the way.
jokes.
You run a class,
Yeah.
right? So you're dealing with all the the young up and comers.
You read some of these jokes to the class. These
So-
are the ones you shouldn't use.
This is me in the class now. Let me know what you think. I got some new
So you
jokes.
want my opinion?
Go easy on me.
No, I'll
You're
try.
a very sensitive boy. All right. So you ever meet a woman
Yes.
and you instantly feel the electricity between you two?
Sure.
You know, because she has a taser.
That's,
Women have tasers.
that's a 10
All right, a 10. All
for
right.
the taser joke. That's good.
So sometimes I feel self-conscious putting on deodorant.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm pretty sure the CVS clerk is watching. He's been on to me ever since I opened those M&Ms.
Six.
And then you put it back on the
I
shelf.
got 6 on
All
that.
All right, some of
I
these
like
are
that.
goofy. They're not all winners, you know, but
It'll be home runs.
You're not at the level yet of pilot. But no, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, so my neighbor's dog barks a lot.
Oh,
It just barks and barks and barks. And it could be so annoying
when I'm in my yard trying to light off fireworks. Keep it down over there.
That's great.
I think it's good to question the big mysteries of this world. You know?
Yes.
Great.
Like, who shot JFK? Who built the pyramids? Personally, I'm still trying to figure out who farted.
Yeah.
Like even,
That's the age.
like even from last week.
Right.
Last week.
Who farted?
Still
Because it
farted.
damn sure wasn't me.
Right.
All right, it was. All right, I'll.
It was. We found the mystery has been solved. You can use that tag.
Oh,
The
thank you.
mystery has been solved. No, good.
You ever tie two squirrels' tails together and use them as nutchucks?
Oh,
It's
nutchucks.
a pretty hard weapon to master, especially because those squirrels, they bite the hell out of you, man.
It's so silly.
I'm
See, I love silly humor. It's
that's
so
all.
great.
That's all I do, man. Just goofy
It's
stuff.
great. It's great.
I ran over a squirrel the other day.
Oh no.
Ooh.
That's the first time I ever did that while jogging. Pretty sure it was dead before I even stepped on it.
Right. Yeah.
That deserved that. All right, guys. We got more jokes. More jokes.
Oh, I know you.
That
do.
might be the pilot back there telling her what to play. Good.
Sometimes I feel like Bigfoot because I'm big, I'm hairy, and there's a lot of people out there who don't believe in me.
That's great.
And the people who do,
Yeah.
they're weird as hell, man. All right, a lot of people question if you believe in Bigfoot or not, right?
Yep.
I'm more curious if Bigfoot believes in himself.
Right.
Maybe if he did, he wouldn't be isolating himself all the time in the woods.
True. Fact.
The thoughts that
That was just a fact. That wasn't a joke.
yeah, that wasn't really a joke.
It
It
was
was
just
just, I'm
throwing out
getting
some
out there.
facts. Boy, she's getting very judgmental back there with the
She
tambourine.
really is.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I like
You
it
know,
though. I like
I need the criticism. You know,
Yeah.
This is what we do, right?
And you know she's back there right now, like this.
it. With a
Just
finger
ready.
on the button.
Ready
Go
for
ahead.
those bombs.
Go ahead.
All right. I like the weather.
Oh, me too.
I like the weather because you can watch it change through a window and not get arrested.
Whoa!
All
Wow,
right.
that's a thinker.
The weather is so much better than a girl's locker room. I've been saying that for years.
All right, I love that.
All right, we like that. Weather's good.
I like that. This one I like it.
We're gonna go even more out there, all right?
All right,
guys?
go.
Yeah.
Time itself is very promiscuous.
Yes.
I mean, come on, every day a new date. Why don't you keep it in your pants? Time.
That's good. You gotta.
We got a drum. That's better than a bomb. Yeah.
I'm trying very hard to focus on his jokes, knowing that I have some meatballs over there. I'm just telling you that.
All right,
Oh, you got meatballs?
The meatballs have taken
We
over.
should just bring over the meatballs and eat.
Let's see
Right.
what else. These are hysterical.
These
All
are
right.
great. These are great.
Did you ever write a roast for anybody?
Yes, I just
You
did a
must be
roast.
hysterical.
Yeah, I can go pretty hard on the roast.
Yeah.
We just roasted Rob White. I mean, you guys know Rob
Yes,
White. He's a
yes.
fantastic guy.
Very roastable.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
I was told recently that I have a porn addiction.
Ooh.
I didn't know how to handle that, so I just shut off my laptop and left the Starbucks.
Right. Very similar to the CBS joke.
It was. It was very
Yeah, I
similar.
like that. That's
You
good.
find an idea and you just got to keep,
Right.
you know,
Trying to change
Get
the
it
words
all
and
out
the
of it.
place. Yeah.
That's good. I like
That's all
that.
right.
That one's really good.
Easter's coming up. and,
Yes.
Easter.
Easter egg hunts.
You know, and I'm a pothead, you know. So I got really high last year on Easter. Went on an Easter egg hunt.
Nice.
I found 3 eggs, but I lost my keys.
Wait, no, that's not worth
Be generous back
I'm
there.
trying to. Wait, did I miss something on this joke? Explain it.
I'm trying to figure it out.
All right, you went on an Easter egg hunt.
Right.
I got really high last year
Really high.
on Easter
Right.
and went on an Easter egg hunt.
Right.
I found 3
3
eggs,
eggs.
but I lost my keys.
Lost my keys.
You know, potheads lose their keys a lot.
Oh, see,
all right.
It's a little out there. All right. You know, it's not a winner. All right.
Sounds like it.
Oh,
We
back
have-
there.
True in the back.
One more,
more?
then we got to go.
Okay, one
Kill it,
more.
kill it.
All right. So I like the beach.
Oh, good.
Me
I like
too.
going to the beach because when you're at the beach, you can find stuff.
Yes.
At the beach. Like I was at the beach recently, I found $50.
Nice.
It was in some lady's purse, but $50
In some
nonetheless.
lady's purse.
No, it wasn't.
Billy
He
Geyer.
has a second part.
Oh,
of
do
it,
you? The
Joe.
second part.
No, that was it.
That was it.
Great job. That was stuff.
That was the beginning to your work, though. No, there's a second part.
He always
No,
has
there's
a
not.
second line after his joke.
That one didn't.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Billy Geyer,
Thank
John
you. Like the same
Sandalone.
lives.
We're going to the diner.
Woo!